Hey, it's Nadi,
Yo, it's your boy Mike. What's good?
and welcome back to episode 2 of Split Decision.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back, y'all.
So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about our relationships a good idea in 2025.
Hmm, that's a good, it's a good question. A different climate. As people say, I don't know. I guess I hang around older people, and they say like, these things about their relationships and getting to know their wives and stuff. I'm like, bro, it's a whole different climate nowadays. Um, it kind of ties into our last episode. Really, but yeah, that's the reason why I brought this up. It was like it's just, of course, we're in a dedicated relationship, of course, and everything. But I can see how somebody may say like, hey, there's a lot of people actually saying like, hey, I don't want to date, especially on the men's side, and then on the women's side, well, I can't even speak for women, so
I'll be hearing that from a lot of women too. Um, a lot of women nowadays think that men are their downfall, and I honestly think that the men that they are dealing with, yes, they might be their downfall, but I really think it just depends on the person. It doesn't have anything to do with the majority of people, but these are just the type of people they're encountering. So of course, they're going to put that on everybody. That's what we do a lot. Like we project a lot of things onto other people just based off of experiences that we personally have.
okay, I'm like, is it really projecting though? Because, or is it just learning?
I feel like people refuse to take accountability for the people that they choose. Now, I understand that a lot of people be like, "Oh yeah, um, sometimes people don't show their true colors until a certain amount of time," but we all know red flags are a thing. We choose to disregard the red flags that we see, and then we go into relationships thinking like based off of potential. And I understand that they always say that women are a lot more emotional than men.
Uh-huh.
So we go based in our we go into relationships very emotionally, and we try to change people, or um, we try to we see the potential and we try to perceive that to be that person at that moment, but we have to look at people of like how they're showing us at that time. And if you decide to deal with a person that you've already seen is not a fucking good person, and you still decide to deal with them, then that's your fault. It has nothing to do with the majority of people because you haven't dated the majority of people.
Hopefully not.
Exactly. Like, how can you have a perception of all the like relationships, but speak so what's the word? I can't even think of the word. You speak as if everybody is on the same thing, but you haven't experienced everyone. So how would you know for you to make that conclusion? Like, yeah, I get that you've experienced maybe 2 or 3 people that act the same, but are you evaluating yourself and understanding how am I attracting the same type of person just in a different body? Maybe that's what you like. Maybe that's something, maybe you're just bad at picking people to date. Maybe you choose what you want and not what you need. I feel like a lot of women do that too. I feel like a lot of men do that, and I feel like that's why there's so many toxic relationships, because this person looks good on the outside, but really they're a really bad person. And they show you that they're a bad person. They show you that they're crazy in ways where it's unhealthy to be in a relationship with them. And they show you all these things and we just refuse to accept it. And then once we finally do be like, okay, yeah, I can't deal with this no more, we want to put all the blame on that person. But you also have to take accountability for the situation that you put yourself in when you could have removed yourself at a sooner time. But because you really like this person and this, or you have like the perception of what love is, and not and it's not in a healthy way, but this is all you know, so you keep choosing based off of what you've experienced. And I think that messes a lot of people up when they start dating people, because they be like, oh, well, this person has to do this for me to know that they love me, or they really want to like be with me and stuff like that. But a lot of the traits that you're expecting someone to show you are very toxic traits.
Hmm. I am a firm believer of like what you put out is what you get.
Very.
I'm a very firm believer of that, and I think that I agree to one thing. I want to say I agree with a few points that you said, but like from the male perspective, if you look at, I don't know, I guess from I cannot, like I stated, like you don't know how everybody is. I can't speak for all males out there or anything like that. But for the average Joe, like myself, the average Joe, when you get into a relationship with the person, they do these things. They do all these things for you, and they show like things. They may show at the moment that they are a certain individual, but how would you particularly know? It's really we're going in like I understand that they say with love is blind. Then that goes into the whole phrase of what you was talking about, ignoring red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Goes into the whole ignoring red flags, and I think that happens a lot with guys too as well. They just ignore everything else when it comes to a woman, and I'm not gonna lie, men get horny. Say they say, hey, this woman look good, and whatever the case may be, and ignore everything else about this woman. And it leads to their downfall. Don't get me wrong, but also just from the male side of things as well. You talk a lot about choosing the right partner and everything. From the male's perspective, first off, there's not really a lot of options to choose from. That's number one. Number two, getting into a relationship from a guy that possibly, because again, men are supposed to be the providers, the protectors, and things of that. So we always have to worry about, is the woman there for you, or is it there for the things that you give them? Mm-hmm. There is a big difference. If a woman is there for what you give them, she will drop you for another guy who gives them more. So like that's where like I don't want to say drop you, but like maybe and then with the age as well, another point as well, we always gotta, my first point was basically you always gotta, as a guy, always gotta keep the balance of whether well, you have to determine, like, if that person is there for you or what you provide for them, especially if it's your guy providing for a household. That's point one. And then point number two, with today's social climate and the influence of young ladies nowadays, you could have yourself a good girl surrounded by a bunch of bad influences, and she could turn out to be a bad girl, or whatever the case may be. Or so like it just kind of like depends on the situation and the climate and things of that nature. So I can see why a guy might say like, hey, there's a lot of hoe culture going around. There's a lot of people tricking on people and not really understanding. Like really, I'm gonna be honest. If any one of y'all are out there a trick, they do not like you. I promise you, they do not. And I'm pretty sure you don't care. But bro, you're throwing your money at a person who don't like you. If you have to trick on them for them to give you attention, they do not like you. Promise you, they don't. But anyway, but it's full of tricks and a bunch of loose women and loose behavior. Really, you never really know exactly what you're getting yourself into. When it comes to the emotional layers of a woman. So I can see why guys say, hey, I don't want to deal with it. Got my heart broken enough. Not getting into a relationship. That's my piece.
So like, I understand that like a lot of us have had experiences of us getting hurt in relationships, which makes you not want to keep putting your heart on the line just to keep getting hurt. I understand that. But back to what you stated, if you said that, yeah, you could have a good girl, but she could be influenced by things like outsiders or whatever, or and that can create a bad girl. But in my mind, and not even just a good girl, a good person is a good person no matter what. And if you're a strong-minded individual, which probably everybody isn't, if you can let other people influence you to do things, like specifically if you can let other people influence you to do things that aren't good for the relationship that you're in, then you also have to go back to reevaluating yourself and taking accountability. Like, how did I let someone else put me in a position where I could mess up the relationship that I'm in?
I get what you're saying.
Peer pressure.
Could be peer pressure. I always taught that if you stick your hand in mud, your hands gonna get dirty. No matter how strong of an individual you are. You are a product of what you put yourself around. And that goes both ways, men and women. But I think since women are so like more sociable, they're more emotionally and connection wise. That's what makes them a great advantage, really, when it comes to building connections with other people, and then also making a house into a home, loving environment. Like they're so like socially driven. Like they can walk into a room and then size up, oh, that person don't like each other by their body language and things like that, and stuff like that. Women can pick up on those different social cues that sometimes men don't. So that's a great advantage. But then that also creates a downside. I always think that there is a drawback to everything. Women always like to be like socially, I don't want to say always, again, exceptions to the rule doesn't make the rule invalid, but they like to be socially accepted among their peers, and it matters to them a lot more. So if you put yourself in that environment of so-called, doing things, oh yeah, they're single, but I'm not, so I'm not going to do that stuff. Great. That's cool. But you put yourself in that predicament where the situation could escalate to that. And, like I stated before, if you go dirty environment, you're going to come out dirty too,
But what I'm saying is, you shouldn't put yourself in environments to where something like that can happen, which means you would have to reevaluate who you're friends with. If they would put you in a situation like that, knowing that you're in a relationship, if they would do that to you, I feel like that's not your real friend. Like if you are associated with a person and you say for instance, okay, y'all go to the bar, and she be like, your friend be like, hey, like let's go up to some guys just so they can pay for our drinks. First of all, I've never been that desperate for a drink for me to have to go up to get a man. Huh?
You don't even drink.
I know, but I'm saying, I'm just giving like a a hypothetical.
Yeah, I know.
I've never been that desperate for a drink for me to have to be like, oh, let me go up to a man and so he can pay for it. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not that type of friend. And if my friend is trying to put me in situations like that, then to me that's not really my friend, and I would have to reevaluate her be in their relationship. Because if you know I'm in a relationship and this could potentially put my relationship in jeopardy, although yeah, it's just a drink. What if the guy try to like talk to me or something? What if it's not just them buying me a drink? What if they're actually, or what if they think I'm cute or something, and they actually want to talk to me? I'm not gonna be okay with that. And this is why too, why I personally, I know a lot of women are different than me. I understand that, but I can really only speak on myself. I can't speak on all women because I'm not all women. But this is why I don't go out. Because and it's not because even like if I was in a relation, even if I wasn't in a relationship, I don't like being in those type of environments where I'm gonna feel uncomfortable. I don't like being around women who are attention seekers, um, like a male attention. Like, I feel like you can tell when someone is like an attention seeker and they just want to be in the spotlight all the time. I don't like being around that because then it turns into a situation, and I've been in this situation multiple times where the woman that is an attention seeker, she starts to get weird around men, and then all of a sudden this got hella jokes at me. But if it was just me and her, she wouldn't be doing that. And I don't like stuff like that. I don't want to be put in situations like that. This is why I only got one friend. I only have one friend, and I've been friends with her since 2016. And any friend that I've had before that, there's a reason why we're not friends anymore. And I don't know. I just feel like, too, I feel like men do that too. Men put other men in situations to where they will try to get them to cheat on their girl. And I feel like a lot of men fall victim to that too. They'll be like, oh, like, it wasn't me who called these girls up, it was my homie, but yet you didn't leave and you knew these girls was coming. So you stay in a position where you knew could put your relationship in jeopardy. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be considerate of your person, which means you don't put yourself in those type of situations. I know people lack character. Like, their character is very, very flawed. Like, it's kind of sickening because they will try to justify any and everything, and then try to be like, oh, you made me do this. Bro, I didn't make you slip into no, like, what? Like, I didn't make you do anything. You decided that you were going to do that. And that was a decision that you made, and now you got to deal with the consequences of that. Sometimes there are no consequences. I feel like a lot of women be so in love, they will just forgive and probably not forget, but they were fake. I think it's fakely forgive, because I really don't think that they be forgiving the guy. They just don't be wanting to lose them, so they deal with it, and then they keep dealing with it, because a lot of the times when the guy does something that he shouldn't have done, they'll try to be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, like, I'll never do it again, and then they always end up doing it again. Not all men, I know all men don't do that, but I feel like a lot of them do, because they not sorry. They just, I got caught, now I gotta figure out how to fix my relationship, and then just be better at hiding what I was doing again or something.
Overall, what I would state, back to our original question, is, our relationships worth it in 2025? I would say seriously consider that. That's not a decision that we can make for every individual person, but also be aware. I personally would say be aware. Listen to both of our point of views and things of that nature. I think it boils down to one thing. It's selfishness, really. people only look out for themselves. There's a lot of that's the climate today. Most people just really look out for themselves. They say practice self-love, and I like, which is great, is good, love yourself. But I think that's the only thing people practice nowadays. Is just the love of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why they have a lot of females who are basically self-absorbed, have an inflated ego, and basically at the end of the day ain't worth nothing either. They have all this different big-headed about them, but really they're really not worth nothing, really, for real. Remember, fellas, any woman that can be bought is not worth having.
I agree.
But and then also on the men's side either too, I'm gonna be honest with you, it usually is just about themselves. They just think about what would like feel good to them in that moment. They're not thinking about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So even on the men's side, I can definitely see that selfishness on their side. But yeah, I just think right now, to answer that question, I can see how people may say no, it's not worth it, because everybody is just looking out for themselves. Send me money from the female side. Like, it's crazy how the people, they be putting cash apps in their bios. Like, bro, what?
You know what's crazy to me is, like, I be hearing a lot of women say if dates for money, not for love.
Yeah, boom.
And in my mind, I think that's fucking crazy. So basically, use someone just to get to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you're still going to be unhappy in a relationship, it's not about happiness. It's not about being in love with someone. It's about what this person can do for me. And I find that crazy, because I don't understand how people think like that. Like, I'm not about to use nobody just to get something that I want. Anything that I want, I always go get. But people just are okay with that. They're okay with that. And it was like, a lot of them be like, yeah, I tried marrying for love before and it didn't work out, so now I only marry for money.
I think
the mindset is ridiculous.
I think it was like something to say, if you're going to be heartbroken, at least be heartbroken and paid.
If you're gonna cry, at least cry in the bins. Like,
yeah,
what?
That's what I'm talking about. It's just like, how about get rid of wouldn't crying itself just not be the goal here? How about that?
What?
How about that?
Be more intentional. When you're dating, see people for who they truly are. If you decide to still deal with them after that, okay. But at least you are able to see a person, and I feel like that's what. I know you don't believe in unconditional love.
It doesn't exist.
But what I think is, I do believe in unconditional love. I believe that you see someone for who they truly are, and although you might not like every single thing, you still accept that person for everything that they are. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to accept them and be with them. It just means, like, yeah, I know this what type of person you are. I accept you for being this person. I don't have any harsh feelings for you. I still love you. But I would just have to remove myself, because this is not the type of situation that I want to put myself in. And I still believe that that's unconditional love, because you can still love someone from afar.
That's another topic for another podcast again.
But too, like, I think relationships can be worth it now if people are more intentional about how they date. If they actually take the time, instead of trying to rush to just be and say it so they can have that title, like, yeah, I'm in a relationship. You really just have to slow down and really get to know someone and really get to see what type of person that they really are, and then you determine if this is the type of person that you want to be with. And then when I also say intentionally dating, what are your goals out of this relationship? Like, if you do get that far with someone, like, what are you trying to achieve? Like, we're not just dating just to date. I feel like people are doing that, but you have to make that known. If that's all you want, okay, at least you were honest about that, and I get to decide if I want to deal with that. But if I'm seeking more, I'm going to be more intentional about who I'm dealing with, because I want somebody to be aligned with what I'm seeking for myself. Like, you are seeking the same thing or similar things, even if it's not the exact same thing. But I feel like people just need to be more intentional and stop just trying to rush into relationships and be with any and everybody, because it's scary out here, y'all.
It is.
It's scary.
And, like, it's just like, I guess, you never really know what kind of person you're getting yourself involved with. So I can see how people may be scared. I wouldn't say even be scared, just not want to deal with it, really. Possibly that person being something else that you actually thought they were. They don't want to risk it. Some people just don't want to risk the, like, hey, like, oh yeah, make this known, like, hey, I want something more. Yeah. They come to find out that's not what they were looking for. What they're looking for is the benefits, not the hard times.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to be in love. I think women are nowadays also like that, are in love with just being in love. Like, I want to be in a relationship. I want to be lovey-dovey. I want to go on dates, which in itself is not a bad thing. But at the end of the day, are you ready for some of the really, really hard times when it comes to that? Like, it's not just going to be rainbows and sunshines. I'm going to be honest. It's not just going to be picnic dates and, pink Stanley Cups. Like,
that's true.
So it's just, people like to get in relationships not preparing themselves on what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's scary, y'all. It's scary out there. People fake.
Especially, yeah, like I do agree with that, because relationships are not easy. They require work. They require growth. And you are learning a lot. Like, you're learning a lot about yourself. You're learning a lot about that person in the process. So it's like a lot of, you're intaking a lot when you decide to date someone. And I do think people just try to get like the happy benefits of a relationship, and they are not really ready for everything that it comes with. But when you date intentionally, you know that this is a possibility.
Things change. People change. Emotions change.
That's true. But
yeah,
that is true. I understand. But I don't think it doesn't hurt. I mean, it hurts. Let me not say that. It hurts to keep trying and keep putting your heart out there. It does. But I think one day you're going to find that person that is going to make you realize that all this had to happen for you to meet them, for you guys to be aligned with each other and be on one accord. Like, you had to have these type of experiences. I always believe that, though, your reality is what you make it. And if you have the mindset and everything, that you're gonna find the person that you're really truly meant to be with and are willing to go through things with, not cheating. Like, not somebody cheating on you.
Hey, some people will stay around.
But yeah, sometimes people change. If you think the person is gonna change and they're actually really apologetic and about the things that they did, and that's a possibility. I'm not saying that all cheaters are always gonna stay cheaters. I don't believe that.
Me neither. Doesn't mean I ain't gonna stay. Let me catch a dick in your mouth.
Can you
time.
not? Anyways, do you have anything else to say?
That was pretty much it. I got myself a real one, y'all. I'm gonna be honest
Me
with
too.
you. I'm glad I got her. But if you're contemplating getting in a relationship with 2025, if you want any advice from us, the Split Decision podcast, be honest, be safe, be very, 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 very selective, and honestly, take your time.
Yep.
Take your time. If they're not willing to stay, to take your time, then hey, that kind of shows you what kind of person you're about to get involved with anyway. To be honest with you, and don't let and be different. To be honest with you, be different. It requires you a lot of strength and actually have a relationship, to start one, to actually want to build something in the relationship, and not just go with the climate nowadays, go with the wave. It takes a lot of strength to do that. So be strong, be very selective, and everything. So, and be safe. I think we both agree on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our advice to anyone contemplating anything new, starting anything new in today's selfish world. It's a selfish world, but that doesn't mean every person is selfish. So.
And don't be on TikTok taking that relationship advice. A lot of people are unhealed. Okay.
Unless it's Andrew Tate,
Who is Andrew Tate?
She don't know Andrew Tate, y'all.
Okay, yeah, don't listen to him either.
That's crazy.
But we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Have a good one. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.